If you're standing for marriage restoration after a divorce, what happens if your ex gets remarried? What should you do? This is a question I got a couple times on my last post about God is a restorer of marriages. So here's the thing. I've seen marriages be restored after a person divorced their spouse, that person gets remarried, the person gets divorced, and they marry their first spouse again. Here's how you should process this. First of all, you got to recognize that from old covenant to the new covenant, God does recognize divorce and remarriage. So if your ex-spouse is in another marriage, that's a real marriage. So since it's a real marriage, don't sow seeds of dissension in that marriage. Instead, do like what David did. When God had anointed David to be king over Israel and Saul wouldn't let go of the kingdom, David had an opportunity to take Saul's life. But David says, I'm not going to touch God's anointed. I'm going to let God handle that. And I'm just going to do my part. So eventually Saul was moved out of the way and David became king without his hands having to kill the past king. So you don't want your prayers and your hands on another marriage. Instead, you stand firm in your faith that God has promised to you marriage restoration. And then allow whatever is going to happen to happen. Here's the reality of the situation. Second marriages have almost a 70% divorce rate, and third marriages are over 70%. So without your help, more than likely, if your ex gets remarried, that marriage is not going to last. So what you're praying for is that you're praying for yourself to be strong in faith. You are praying for spiritual growth of your ex, and you're allowing God to just do the rest. So if you got a strong word from God that he wants you guys to be restored, just stand in faith, but you don't have to put your hands on it to try to stop or destroy a second marriage.